Catherine, thank you so much for your delectable serving of an appropriately, perfectly seasoned, cooked to specification gourmet meal that left us not only satisfied, but had enough to take away to feast on another day. What did I love about your speech? The beautiful use of English language and imagery. There was a V line in this story, burial your friend. There was conflict, and there was resolve in the end of the conflict. You used words like beautiful like a forest fire, hot and lava. This helped us visualize and actually understand how crazy the situation was. But then you were able to resolve it beautifully, like a balming morn of sunrise, as we acclimatize on a high mountain summit of a high altitude. The roasting of waiters and not of fish was really, really good imagery. The tornado of misery and burial as a CIA, questioning the source and the mode of the food was very, very good in your speech. This lets us paint the picture and see indeed what you were doing. Secondly, I loved your dialogue. The vocal variety in your dialogue and your dialogue between two people helped us see indeed the conversation that was happening and hear verbatim from the characters in your story. Very well done. And you incorporated very great vocal variety in this story. Again, thirdly, you used the circular method in your story. You started with a question asking us about people who we admire, and you gave us the character burial, but in the end, you also brought us back to the conflict. How do we relate and where do we fit into the continuum? Are we willing to eat food that's not made to our specification for the sake of peace? Or are we going to make sure that we leave everything burning and there's nothing to save at the end? You helped us make a decision based on your story and the learnings, and that was very good. Some improvements to your speech. I consider myself a very fast writer, but the pace was so high that I felt like I was on a speed writing crash course listening to your story. I think with a slowed down pace, we would have been able to digest the story better and really glean from the learnings you presented in your story. So I'd encourage you to think about your pace going forward. In summation, I had a lovely personal story with great examples and imagery and use of the English language. I felt the conflict, you being very conservative and being pushed into this tornado of misery. And I also saw how, in your own very diplomatic way, you are able to resolve the conflict and learn, despite it not being, learn the takeaways, not necessarily of the business consulting that you had hoped for, but lessons in communication that you shared with us. Very well done. In closing, please do give me a call. I think your cool, calm, and collected demeanor is very useful to disarm a very, very crazy rival I have. It is a conflict of Donald Trump proportions, but I think with your guidance and diplomatic way, I can save the day. Back to you, Madam GE.